New, different sublimation printer. Actually, it's not directly a sublimation printer, but it's going to be when I get done with it, because I'm going to convert it for sublimation. There will be no more ET-2720, because that's limited to 8.5 by 10 and 8.5 by 14. And there will be no more Sawgrass SG-1000 for many reasons. One of them being the ink is insanely expensive, and it's proprietary, and you can't use generic inks, at least not very well. And there is something else going on with them where I got into a piss and match with them over SVG files. Because for years I use SVGs, and now they say, well, it has to be a JPEG or a PNG. I use SVGs. It even says on in your software, upload SVGs. Well, it won't do it. They couldn't figure out why, so the heck with it. I just went out and bought a Epson ET-15000. This will do everything that both of those printers did. And it'll do everything the Sawgrass did, and it'll do it much cheaper. So therefore, the Sawgrass is going to be sold soon. I've already sold the 2720, nothing wrong with it. Just, this will take up less room. I have one printer taking up space instead of two. So I got to get this thing unboxed and get it set up, and I'll kind of take you through this. I'm sure it won't be much different than when I set up my 2720. Little side note here, it's kind of neat. They put little illustrations on the inner covers here on how to take this out of the box. So that's kind of a nice little addition, what steps to do, and take styrofoam out, lift the whole bag out, and not try to gnarl through everything. So kind of a nice little touch. Okay, so got it out of the box. So the first thing you're going to need to do is take off all these little pieces of blue tape all over the place. So you're going to spend a little bit of time doing that and look everything over carefully, make sure you don't miss anything. Well, that includes, after I get these off, I can open this. I'm sure there'll be something inside. So look everywhere on there, make sure you get all them little blue tape things off. And once you've got all the tape off of everything you can see externally, kind of lift the lid up. There's a little lever you can push right here on the front left corner, which will then let you pick up this, which has this little plastic thing that'll come down and lock it. And then inside, you not only have more tape, but you have a styrofoam block, and you want to make sure you get that out of there, as well as all the other tape and a piece of corrugated plastic that's over there to hold the print head in place. So you want to make sure you do all that. Don't miss it. So what am I using for ink on this conversion on the Epson here? Well, I'm using this ink from Hippo. It's sublimation ink, and it comes in a set of, you get the 4 colors. And what I neglected to do when I was originally shooting this video was showing how to put the ink in. And I'm going to briefly show you how to do that. It's actually pretty simple. This is kind of a post-edit thing. As I was going through to edit this video, I noticed that I left out that important part. So I'm going to go over here to the printer. We'll show you how to put this in. Yes, it's in a different location now. So all you need to do is lift up the top like that, let the little kickstand catch. You've got a little door over here that opens up. And then I'm going to fill my black up here. I do have the tanks pretty full, but I have been using this, so I could put a little more in. You take off the lid here. Don't take off the bottom one, take off the top one. So you'll have that in there, which will fit on the nipple in there. Make sure you put the right color in the right place. Just set it on there like so. And it'll fill itself, and when it gets full, it will stop. And you will probably have ink left in your bottle. But after it does the prime, I'll be refilling it, as you'll see here. And then once it is full, you just take that off, put your cap back on. So you close this. You do that for each color. Close this back up. Put the kickstand back down. And then it gives you little directions here on filling the tank, and up to the upper line, proceed. Just follow the screens. Okay, we're done. So I've been using the Hippo brand ink for quite a few years here now, and I have excellent results with it, and it compared right up with the Sawgrass that I no longer have now. But that's all there is to it. So now we'll get back to the rest of the setup. All right, once it's completed its ink charging, etc., it'll tell you on there to initialization complete, move on to print quality adjustments, go to adjustments. So what we need to do next is put some paper in here. Oh, I missed a couple little pieces of tape. So you'll need to set the width here. Match your paper. A couple sheets 8.5 by 11 in there. So we'll go adjust recommended, and we have to do a print. And we have the paper loaded. Click print. Okay, you'll get a sheet printed out, and you'll have to know if there's any little missing segments. And I do have a few missing segments on the black, but everything else looks good. It'll give you a choice on the screen here to select the result. We have this one over here, which has some missing spots. So we're going to run the print head maintenance. We'll start that. It says it takes 3 minutes. This is a brand new setup and first time use, so it's kind of expected. I had the same thing when I did my 2720. Okay, while this is running this little cleaning cycle, I'll point out that since it does ink charging, the ink levels here have now dropped, which you can see, and as soon as this finishes its little thing here, I'll use the remainder of the ink in my bottles to fill those back up. Whatever you do, do not let your ink run out in one of these printers. Once it completes its little cycle, it will print a check paper again here. And everything looks good. So I'm ready to go here. So next thing I need to do is set my Wi-Fi up. Well, there is a thing on here to align the print position to fix misalignment and banding. So we'll do the adjust here. Let it do its thing. I need 4 sheets of paper. I only have 1. Guess I need to go get paper. Well, it's going to ask you to print the alignment patterns of 1 through 4, so just click on print and let it do its thing. When it prints out a sheet, you'll have to select the pattern that shows no gap or dark line. And then for row number 1, which is over here, I am going to pick number 3. And that's what's actually selected here. So I'll proceed to number 2. And that as well will be number 3, which is already selected here. So click proceed. Now it's going to print the next alignment sheet. Second sheet, you're going to get a bunch of squares printed out, and it's number 1 through 6 vertically, and then horizontally 1 through 7. And you need to pick the number square that has the least number of streaks in it. So for the first one, I'm looking here, and it looks like it's going to be number 7. So I'll change this up here to number 7. Proceed to number 2. Square with the fewest streaks. It's also going to be number 7. Number 3 is also number 7. Number 4 is also number 7. And number 5 is also number 7, as is 6. I just looked. So now we're going to print the alignment patterns. That'll be the third sheet. We've got 2 sets here, and you need to pick the one number that shows no gap or dark line. So on number 1, it is going to be number 7. And for number 2, it's going to be number 6. And now it's going to print the fourth and final alignment sheet. Okay, for this one we need to choose the rectangles that are not separated or overlapped. I need to study this one pretty close. And for this one I'm going to pick number 2. You need to look at this closely when you do that, because you're going to have to look real close to see if anything overlaps or separates. So print head adjustment is complete, and you can do it again for maintenance if you need to. Then you select paper size and type for printer source, etc. The paper cassette is 8.5 by 11. Paper type, I'm going to change this to premium presentation paper matte because that's what I use. That's for the paper cassette. And the paper tray, that is in the back. Size for that is 11 by 17 or 8.5 or 13 by 19, whichever I decide to use. We're going to pick 11 by 17 there. And that will also be premium presentation paper matte. Okay, you don't have to do this here. It can also be done from the printer window on your computer as well. So we're all done with paper setting. Fax setting, I'm not going to use this for fax. Don't need to be reminded later. So next I need to get this set up on my Wi-Fi. For this I'll go in the window to settings and general settings, network settings, Wi-Fi setup, select connection method, Wi-Fi recommended or Wi-Fi direct. Oh, Wi-Fi. Says start setup. Go to the Wi-Fi setup wizard. I will be connecting this via USB cable, but for right now I just want to do it on Wi-Fi. So it found my source here, my Wi-Fi network. I need to enter the password. Enter your password, it will take you through and it'll say setup complete. So I can just close that and we're all done. You can participate in the customer research and you can register. There are all kinds of things you can do here. Now it says there's a firmware available. Firmware update available. Update the firmware from the settings menu. Okay. So we go back here. Might as well update the firmware. Go back to network settings. Get out of that. Out of that. Go all the way down here on settings. Firmware update. Says it's on. Click on update. Start checking. It was found. Takes several minutes. You cannot cancel what started. We'll click yes and we'll let it do its firmware update. Okay, I've sent a file to it. We'll see how it looks when it comes out. It's printing on the 11 by 17 from the rear paper tray. Say it's cranked out my first print. Looks good, just the way I wanted it. And many more to come. So here's how to set up the Epson ET-15000 for sublimation. I'll refill my ink tanks here with my leftover ink and we'll get this all moved to wherever I'm going to move it to. Right now I did this first print on Wi-Fi just because it's so far from where my computer is, but once I get this moved, I'll probably do all my printing through USB. Don't like to rely on Wi-Fi for important things like very good graphics. If it drops a packet, it'll leave a line in it or it'll just mess it up completely. So therefore I always do a direct connection when I'm doing anything really important. So again, there's no sponsors here or anything. I bought this. I got rid of that damn SG-1000 Sawgrass printer because I'm just absolutely frustrated with it and the ink prices and the way tech support was treating us. So time to get rid of it. The Epson 2720 I have already sold. It was flawless, but it also does what this does with the 8.5 by 11s and the 8.5 by 14s. So this does it all. And it's just a little bit bigger than the 2720, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to put it in the same spot. But we'll see. So if you got anything out of this, appreciate getting a thumbs up. Always helps the channel. And I'll put a link in the description of the ink I use. The printer I also bought on Amazon, but and I'll put a link to it if they still have some. They were getting low on inventory, but I'll put a link in there for them. Thanks for watching. I'm Roger in the loft above the shop. See you on the next one.